Meghan Markle and Prince Harry capped off a miserable year with a happy Christmas card that once again showcased the back of their children's heads. Oh, and it failed to mention Christmas, the reason for the season. The Gruesome twosome's theatrical pursuit of privacy is at the peak of their mountain of hypocrisy. Let us see Archie and Lilibet's faces. Or just don't bother. But naturally, the kids are not the star of the greeting card show. Meghan is. 6 photos, 5 featuring the dazzling Duchess. 1 in which she weirdly recreates that iconic Princess Di picture when little William and Harry ran towards her wide-open arms. A spontaneous moment of motherly love. Meghan's uncannily similar moment with Archie and Lilibet looks staged. Call me cynical, but it comes across like an actress playing a scene. And then there's the stilted card itself. Cosy, chummy, friendly, full of warmth. It is none of these things. On behalf of the Office of Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Archwell Productions and Archwell Foundation, we wish you a very happy holiday season and a joyful new year. Doesn't that just ooze festive cheer? No. But of course, the self-styled King and Queen of Montecito also sent a different, deeply private card to close friends and family, which will not be shared with those awful nosy plebs. You know, us, the pesky prying public. And by the way, what family? Did Meghan post compliments of the season to her 80-year-old father, Thomas, who she has ruthlessly cut off for talking to the media and compromising her, drumroll, sacred privacy? Did her cable show Majesty dispatch familial goodwill messages to her brother Thomas or her sister Samantha, both of whom she has also ceased all contact with? Was it that her siblings' down-to-earth authenticity didn't quite gel with her social climbing ambitions to clamber to the top of the upper-class tree? Discuss. As for Harry, pointedly not invited to King Charles's Christmas celebrations and more of a royal outcast than ever, can his fractured relationship with his increasingly distant relatives ever be healed? Let's be honest. Rapprochement with a petulant prince who made cash for trash by slagging off the king and his clan is highly unlikely. William, in particular, wants no part of a peace pact with a brother he was once inseparably close to, but who he now believes has unforgivably betrayed him. The raging royal rift recently widened when William happily linked up with Harry and Meghan's sworn enemy, Donald Trump, a meeting that we're told caused considerable shock and fury at a certain mansion in Montecito. Doing his bit for British diplomacy, the Prince of Wales held friendly talks with the president-elect after they both attended the reopening of Paris's majestic Notre Dame Cathedral, restored to its former glory following that devastating fire. The two men got on famously, with Trump hailing his new best friend as a good guy. Meanwhile, back on the West Coast, hapless Harry is reduced to waiting in hope with his future in Donald's hands. If, as the Heritage Foundation think tank suspects, the dumb Duke lied about his illegal drug use on his visa application to reside in the States, will the new president kick him out of the country? If not, why not? Why should this entitled ginger aristocrat get special treatment? Already in directionless tatters is the sun about to set on the narcotically inclined prince's American dream. Either way, for Harry, uncertain times lie ahead. They do, don't they, Samara?
They really do. I mean, it's been such a car crash of a year. The issue is they haven't done anything. And I think that this is now going to kind of create the forward for what's going to happen in the next year for them, where stuff is really going to start to fall apart at the seams. I think that I was looking back and trying to figure out anything notable that they've actually done change. I actually also realized that they've used multiple different photos from the same event on their Christmas card because they really haven't been anywhere. I mean, they did sort of 1 to 2 public trips, but it really has been, as you've been saying, an annus horribilis for the actual royal family and then by extension them this year. It's really quite depressing.
It is. Well, let's talk about this Christmas card, which has got like 6 pictures of it. On it, and 5 of them are of Meghan. Everybody beaming at Meghan. Oh, look, isn't Meghan wonderful? Oh, look, there's Meghan. Oh, look, there's Meghan with her kids being a wonderful mother. It's really strange and incredibly formal. I mean, when I send Christmas cards, you know, I'm not going to bother sending one to you, Simon, obviously. But if I did, it wouldn't begin from the office of Kevin O'Sullivan. But that said, what this feeds into is their sort of irritating obsession with privacy. The privacy that they don't really seek, they just pretend to. And so it turns out that this very formal card has been sent out to all and sundry, but there's another deeply private card that's gone to close family and friends. You know, neither of those two are particularly talking to their family, so I don't know what that means, but there must be a few close friends around. I mean, I can't imagine there's that many. But, I mean, they even want to keep a Christmas card private. What is the matter with them? Nobody cares that much about them that they really care about their privacy. It's pathetic. And by the way, you can't shout from the rooftops about your privacy. It's like when they on South Park, you know, we want privacy.
Yeah.
We want privacy. I mean, it's just sheer hypocrisy. They don't want privacy. They want publicity, and they're getting less and less of it, and that's what they don't like, isn't it, Simon?
Yeah, I think that it's a very difficult game to play with the press sometimes when you want privacy on your own terms, which I think everybody is entitled to. To go back to the card, I've seen the card, and I've also heard some people say some sort of incredible things about the card. Your former Angela Levin, who's been on this show, and she sometimes has some really nasty things to say about that couple, and she kind of was hinting that it looked...
Angela Levin.
She was kind of hinting that it looked Photoshop and that Harry's got 6 fingers in there and everything else. The card may have been touched up. We know that sometimes cards get touched up. I believe Princess Catherine touched up a card herself earlier this year.
Don't you dare attack Kate. And don't you dare attack Angela Levin either. She's my favourite royal commentator, apart from Kinsey Schofield.
OK, yeah, no. Hurrah for Kinsey, not so much for Angela, I'm afraid. But I have to say that that's not uncommon. If you what you read out on the card, where it said from the Prince Harry and Meghan, and from the Archwell Foundation and the Archwell Charity, that's obviously a public card that is going out on behalf of everybody who works at that place, and that's not uncommon at all. You send
everyone who's unlucky enough to be bullied by Meghan.
But companies send out a card anyway, and I should imagine that the office of King Charles or the office of the Prince and Princess of Wales send out a card, and then they send out personal cards.
The royals on this side of the proper royals here in Britain, are not so obsessive about privacy. They understand it's a trade-off. They show us their Christmas cards every year, and it's a touching moment usually. Didn't William and Kate's one for it was the kids again, wasn't it?
I look forward to
they
that
always show us
year.
their Christmas cards. What's the big deal? By the way, they always also show us their kids. If I see one more bloody picture of the back of those kids' heads, I'm going to scream.
Yeah, but they're allowed to do that. I find it really...
Look, if you're going to show the back, all the papers going, oh, look, Harry and Meghan have featured their children in their Christmas card. Not really. It's the back of their heads. If they're going to show the back of their heads, better still, don't bother.
Yeah, exactly. They don't realise, or maybe they do, that they're creating this weird pressure bubble that the media, it really wants to just see their children because they need proof. Because when you start sort of protecting and safeguarding your children, the media is going to want to know where they are and questions are going to be asked. All they can do is, in the privacy of their own home, release a photo, like you said, Kate and Will do so well, and they actually protect their privacy of their kids. We haven't seen any paparazzi shots of, you know, the kids being dropped off at school every day, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, because publications don't publish those pictures.
But to be fair, I've seen...
You know, newspapers and magazines do respect the privacy of children, so they don't have to be so obsessive about it. And having lived in Los Angeles and worked the Hollywood scene, I'll tell you something, right? The big stars aren't obsessive about privacy. the two-bit tiny little actors and actresses, the wannabes, they are because they think that makes them seem like a big star. It really doesn't, you losers.
But Kev, to be fair, that is their prerogative. And also, I think it's quite interesting that you guys are sort of saying, show us the kids, show us the kids, show us the kids. It's not for you to dictate when the kids are seen. I went and looked on their Instagram account, and there are pictures of the kids. They just choose when they want to show.
Have they got faces?
And yes, they have. And when listening to you two pick over the massive, minute details, and Angela Levin as well. When I sort of watched the thing with her as well,
the excellent Angela
picking
Levin.
over the minute details of the card. Some parents don't want their kids faced with that. Very famously,
but don't show the back of their heads.
It's up to them. They're allowed to.
It's ridiculous.
That's fine.
It's ridiculous.
You do know it's going to be an absolute media storm when that photo gets released, and it's really going to basically diminish all the work that they've done.
But you said that they will do that in their own time and that she will monetize that, which I think
will,
may be
100%.
true. So if she's going to do that, that's her being savvy, and she sees a payday at the end of it. And as their mum and as their parents, that is their right. And it's weird. I have to tell you, it's weird when people go around a lot going, show us your kids, show us your kids, show us your kids.
He's a member of the royal family. Other members of the royal family show us their kids. There's interest in it.
Quasi-members.
It's not a big deal. Well, quasi.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm getting
They've
more,
got a foot in,
getting
they've got a
more
foot
and more
out.
quasi by the day. Let's talk, though, about that really weird, one of the central pictures in that card of recreating, kind of oddly, that famous Diana moment. There's the famous picture of William and Harry when they were little kids. She hadn't seen them for a couple of weeks. She'd been away on a tour, and she saw them. She went like that, and they were running into her arms. And what's Meghan doing? Recreating that picture. It's so strange.
Here's a question, though, for you, asking that. If Meghan and Harry take the kids on a kind of a roller coaster or a water slide, and there's a picture taken then, would you say that they have obsessively set out to recreate that same Diana picture?
Yes.
Or are they? So they can't win,
they
can
do.
they?
She does.
But they can't win.
She's obsessed
Whatever
with
picture,
Diana. She's obsessed with Diana. And as I've said before, he is overly obsessed with his mother as well.
Which is fine. It's his mum.
But it just makes...
You were 11 when he died. Get over it, Harry.
No, Kevin, that is so unfair. That is so mean.
No, it's not.
It's not for you to dictate when people get over the death of their parents.
Lots of people lose their parents when they're children.
And it's up to them.
I have
want to get over
sympathy for
it.
that, but you can't still be droning on about it constantly, basing your life on it when you're 40. Get over it.
No,
Grow up.
That's a really unfair.
Grow up.
She believes she is the second coming of Diana. That's for sure.
Or he's quite keen on her.
Maybe
stepping into Diana's shoes.
Maybe she's channeling. Maybe she's trying to channel that. But I think it's unfair to tell people to get over the death of parents. I don't think it's for you two-bit commentators.
Oh, for God's sake, Simon. It's like for naming her
it's
kid
30 years.
Naming the child Lilibet Diana, it's just like it's like makes me want to throw up, to be honest.
It does.
It's such a shameless use.
It's creepy.
Yeah,
it's really creepy.
This is creepy. This is creepy, dictating that people show you the pictures of their kids when they want to.
Well, we're not talking about that now. Okay, look, we've done that topic. Stop obsessing on it. We've done that. We're talking about the recreation of the Diana scene.
Yes, and you are taking something, you're obsessing on that bit as well, and you're obsessing about every little faction that they can't do. And I don't think it's unfair. I think it's unfair that every picture has to be juxtaposed with a picture that's taken before.
Well, they shouldn't. They shouldn't recreate it. Then it's obvious. Look at me. I like Diana. Oh, for God's sake! It's pathetic, weird, strange, odd, and creepy. As simple as that. You've got some comments, Samara?
Christelle has said, someone at Netflix is stupid and wasting so much money on these two talentless, huge carbon emission fraudsters who are basically preaching, do as we say, but not as we do. Has Simon finally seen the true colours of the gruesome grifters? The world has. Very good
who's that
comment. Christelle.
Well, Chris, really good. I agree with that. I mean, you know, we could talk about that perhaps a bit later in the show, but they are a couple. They're very hypocritical. I talked about their mountain of hypocrisy. Everything they do is hypocrisy incarnate. You know, oh, save the planet. Well, get off planes then. Stop travelling around in private jets. Stop hopping on an aeroplane every 3 minutes. I mean, as Chris says, it's do as we say, not as we do.
I just made the point that last week that if you kind of put your name at the top of a project and you kind of shout about it from the rooftops, you have no comeback when people come and say that actually stinks and it's a bit of a dog and you have to take that on board. And I will stick up for people. If you've worked in an industry and you've worked from being at the bottom to work yourself up to the top as an executive producer, I have a problem with people who just come along, slap executive producer on the end of something,
which
and
is
have
Harry and
not,
Meghan.
as all three of us have, been in the office at 2 a.m, had to run round doing sort of the jobs and earn our spurs.
And learning what it means to be a producer.
So I do have a problem.
Those two just think being a producer is putting your name in big lights at the start of the credits.
Well, it's why they haven't been successful.
But Chris is right. They're talent-free, both of them. You've got another comment.
Chris is also right, though, that Netflix do have to bear some responsibility for that.
Well, I think Netflix accept they've made the mistake of all time. But you got another comment, Samara.
DT has said, oddly enough, I agreed with Simon until the children came up. Harry made sure they got prince and princess titles, and they are in LOS. I don't know what that means. Oh, Los Angeles, right? We need to... You know that.
LOS.
I was like, what is LOS? We do have a right to see them. Yes, very good point. I mean,
if they're going to... That is a good point. Who made that point?
DT.
Well, DT, you're absolutely right. If they want to have these exalted royal titles, then we should have the right to see them.
Totally. And Harry keeps living off the pocket purse of the royal family.
Are they a prince and princess, or are they duke?
I believe
they are, yes.
I believe so. But here's a question, though.
No one cares.
Harry and Meghan,
Meghan.
Harry and Meghan don't take any money from the civil list, do they? They have to. That's why they have to go out and do all this stuff.
I mean, he just...
No, I'm asking.
Sorry, but
they don't. Civil list doesn't exist anymore, anyway.
Right, okay, but they don't get...
The king shares it out.
They're not funded by us,
they don't get anything.
They're not funded by us, the taxpayer.
Because they don't
Therefore, that's where you kind of have this dichotomy, I think, exists. We talked about it before, they're quasi-royals. Yeah. They have some of the trappings of the royal family, and they're able, because they're not funded by us, to say we don't want to do that bit.
I think they're rubbish royals. They're pound store royals. One more comment.
He just got 17 million quid from the Queen Mother like a couple weeks ago
for his 40th birthday.
Yeah, but it's like he's still...
That's like anybody dying.
I think
that's
it was
like
7, by the way.
But that's
you've increased his wealth by 10 million.
That's like your grandparents dying.
I think it's 7. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
Naraya has said karma is catching up with them. They mistreated the Queen in her last days when she was sick.
Which is why Donald Trump can't stand them. I think we all... They really, really did behave appallingly during the Queen's last year, for which they will never be forgiven. It was outrageous. Time for a bad ad.
Christmas is near, and I am delighted that so many good boys and girls are calling my special number to hear my exciting Christmas stories.
There's a new story every day, and you'll receive a free gift from Santa and me for calling.
Christmas is a magic time for us all. Call me, and we'll share the magic together. Call 1-900-909-8888. Each call costs $2 for the first minute and 45 cents for each extra minute. Be sure that your parents give you permission. Christmas is near, and so am I.
So they expect kids to pay $2 to get Christmas stories.
I just have to say one thing.
I love America.
Can I just say one thing, Kev? Any children out there, do not call that man.
Well,
there was just something about it that I didn't like.
Really?
Well, yeah. I mean, God bless America. Everything's a business opportunity. Good luck to Santa and his helper there. Let's go to a real break. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to What Just Happened. It's part 2, and seasoned viewers will know that we begin this section with the big moment, the moment that we think was the big story of the week. So take it away.
3, 2, 1. Yay! It worked.
And thank you to Keir Starmer. Nigel Farage and his new treasurer, Nick Candy, flew to Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump's pad in Florida, and there they are photographed at Mar-a-Lago with their new best friend Elon Musk, the world's richest man. Now the point is, Elon Musk gave, they estimate, maybe as much as $200 million to Donald Trump's successful, triumphant presidential campaign, going in at one point at the rate of $2 million a week, apparently. And it looks, Simon, as if he's set to do the same to the Reform UK party here. Now, Reform UK party, if they get, say, there's been talk of $100 million, which is 80 million pounds. If Reform UK get Elon Musk's money and they organise themselves, they're going to be a force to reckon with.
I think that Reform, the way that it's run, it's sort of has run a bit like a company, and you.
Yeah, but let's not. Never mind about those technicalities.
Okay,
let's talk about what I think is a wind of political change. That Trump's triumph proved that the process is very much underway in America. They've had enough of this woke left-wing net zero claptrap, and they're going back to reality and common sense. And Elon Musk is going to transport that across the Atlantic, give his money to Reform UK, and I think we'll get it as well.
Can they be any more than a party of protest? Which is what I think.
Well, with 80 million pounds and organisation,
even so, but can they be more
it's
than a party
already in
of
the wind.
protest?
You can feel it. You can feel it. The Tories over here, the Conservative Party, the equivalent of the Republicans, they're strangely silent. They seem to have lost the art of opposition, don't they, Samara?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is such a tidal change in politics, and it really could signify sort of the revolution of reform and the way that they're going to actually change politics in the UK. I think Reform has done a lot without a lot of money. They haven't had a lot of financial backing for a long time, and I think they've done a lot with the little resources that they've had. They've used social media. They have the highest followings on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all these different things, and Nigel Farage has become somewhat of a caricature, but in a good way, of, freedom. And maybe, he might be here to save Britain. I think Elon is a smart man. He can foresee lots of different things. And if he sees a future in Nigel, then that financial backing will do a lot for us in the UK.
I think by the next election, Reform UK, with Elon Musk's money, have got every chance of winning.
I think it's, I'm not 100% convinced, because if you look back sort of...
I'm not 100% convinced.
Yeah, if you look back and you think of, that party UKIP, the last general election, they were a protest party as well. They got about 13%.
Well, they were a single-issue party.
Okay, let me get on to that. They got about 13% of the vote. This time round, Reform have got about 15% of the vote. You would have thought that with everything going on, they would get a bigger share of the vote. It hardly moved the needle at all. And actually, if you stop most people in the street and say, what are Reform selling? They'll say that they're campaigning on an immigration issue.
Which is
and possibly,
powerful.
Yes.
And
possibly net zero. But to win an election in this country where people are much more, I believe, politicised than they are in America, I don't know whether a protectionist kind of Britain first, especially after what we've seen with Brexit, I don't know whether that is the ticket that
I think that's exactly what we want. It's exactly what we want. Donald Trump's one of the main tranches of his successful campaign would say, during the last 4 years, while that old fossil Biden was in charge, at least 10 million illegal migrants came across the southern border, and indeed the northern as well. Enough, he said, enough. And that's the way the people feel in this country as well. Enough. No more migrants, no more people coming across the channel. Close the borders. And if Farage can sell that message to the British public, trust me, he's going to win. Have you got some questions, Samara?
Yes, I do. So, the BBC is being pressured to play a Christmas song that criticises Keir Starmer, freezing this Christmas. It's #1 in the iTunes charts. Should they play it, Kevin?
Yeah, I know one of the lyrics. It goes, It's gonna be cold this Christmas with all that money abroad. It'll be cold this Christmas and Rachel Reeves is a fraud. The BBC has got a long and dishonourable track record of not playing records that it thinks are offensive. The number of songs that,
It is boosted.
God Save the Queen by the Sex Pistols.
Relax by Frankie
Relax,
Goes to Hollywood.
Frankie Goes to
Yeah.
Hollywood. Do you remember Barry, what was his name? The guy that did Eve of Destruction. Remember that song? That was banned as well. And all that was about, you might be creating a war. Millennial Prayer, Cliff Richard. So should the BBC play it? Yes, they should. I think they might be embarrassed into playing it because, humiliatingly for Keir Starmer and our socialist government, our Marxist government, it looks like this record, taking the piss out of him, is going to be #1 on December the 25th.
I don't think there'll be any problem playing it. I mean, we have.
So far they won't. They refuse.
We have a great history in this country, as does America with Saturday Night Live, of we like satire, we like taking the piss out of institutions and sacred cows and stuff like that. So I don't feel it's a big deal. If the BBC end up playing it, it's
also,
fine.
there's another thing. This is why the BBC should get behind it. All the profits go to the cold pensioners.
Yeah.
The pensioners
Brilliant.
that the Labour government's going to freeze to death by taking away their winter fuel allowance. By the way, as we look back on an eventful year, I bet old Keir Starmer's thinking, that didn't go as well as I'd hoped.
Yeah, can you imagine in Russia if there was a song that was criticising Putin and the state broadcaster refused to play it? We'd just think, oh, OK, that's normal.
Well, yeah, the head of the state broadcasting thing might have an accident shaving one morning and suddenly jump out of his window.
Just so that our audience around the world can sort of get their heads around this, especially in America, we got this guy, Keir Starmer. As a Prime Minister. He's so pathetic. He's so useless and incompetent that we've gone past hating him. We've gone past being worried that he's useless. We're now laughing at him. Trust me, to the American audiences, our Prime Minister is Joe Biden without the talent. You got another question,
Not
Samara?
true. Not true.
The National Trust has dropped hundreds of Father Christmases at the Christmas grottos across the country and replaced them with a female version. Have they gone too far? I'm going to...
Isn't this
Santa
are
over here.
You're going to ask me?
they called Mother Trans Christmas or something?
I'm not dressed as Santa. This is just something I threw on before I came.
fair enough.
No, and I'm going to show my true colours now. I'm actually on the Regional Advisory Board for the National Trust.
you're the problem.
That figures.
And the National
Bloody
Trust
hell.
do
So you think it's a good
amazing-
idea they don't have Father Christmas?
No, because they will have Father Christmas. It will
Well,
be
they
one of
haven't.
those. It will be one of those blown out of proportion things where I've been to some of the National Trust places and seen that they've got
And
grottos.
do you
they've got
support
grottos-
National Trust when they have sort of trigger warnings on slavery-connected showpiece items? And
Yeah, I think that the National Trust got asked by a lot of people the National Trust, which wants people to join it, and people have asked, where does the money come from to do this stuff? And they want to know the history of where stuff has come from.
links to slavery. Slavery was abolished nearly 300 years ago. Had enough of it.
We wonder...
Why are we still obsessing on something that hasn't been around for centuries?
We're not obsessing about it.
Why is it in your
anybody-
stupid National Trust stately homes?
You're
then?
obsessing about
Watch
it.
out for this painting.
You're
it was
obsessing-
bought by someone with connections to slavery.
You're
We wonder
obsessing
why
about it.
Farage is getting so popular. It's because people want to get rid of
This
this
wokery.
Yes.
People have had enough of it.
Woke
At the end of the
virus.
day, though, you guys sort of like worrying about Mrs. Christmas and trigger
Well,
warnings and
yeah.
stuff like that. People actually care about
No,
the money.
they don't.
Let me finish. People care about the money in their pocket, how much they're going to get taxed and stuff like that.
Exactly.
You obsessing
They
about...
don't care about traditions.
You obsessing about...
What about traditions?
Not really.
No, come on.
Not really. They care about how much money they have at the end of the
Simon,
day.
this is where you lot go wrong. Trump realised what Americans are all about, what people are all about. They don't want to know about getting rid of traditions. They don't want to know about trans Mother Christmas. They don't want to know about slavery trigger warnings. And Trump knows this. Nigel Farage knows this, and you lot, Keir Starmer,
you're not
the
listening.
lefty wokeys are on the wrong
You're
track.
not listening to me. I'm saying you guys obsess about that. If you listen to what people said and why they voted for Trump, even though they didn't like him, they said...
Millions did like him.
No, they said because the cost of food and the cost of living and the cost of other stuff have gone up, there was hardly any interviews you saw with people being stopped going, why are you voting for Trump? They're going, oh, because of trans rights or because of wokery or because of this. It's you guys who obsess about it.
Look,
I'm not obsessed about it.
If I stood at the next election, this is what I'd stand on. There will be no more net zero. There will be nothing
That's a
about
policy.
Clean energy. Nothing
for
at
Prime
all.
Minister.
And wokery will be outlawed.
That is
and
a
if
policy.
anybody mentions links to slavery, they go to jail for 10 years.
But nobody...
What do you think, Samara?
I think that it's hilarious because people do feel really poor. People do feel ripped off at the moment. There's a cost of living crisis going on. And then you know what the worst thing is? You go and take your kid to get their Christmas picture with Santa and it's a bloody woman. Okay, so it's really the amalgamation.
Where?
No, it's the amalgamation of everything.
Where all those people going to the National Trust, all those people who care about wokery, you think they're going to the National Trust?
Nobody cares about wokery.
That's just not true.
Nobody cares about
the demographic
wokery.
that you're trying to take one demographic here. You're trying to take one demographic here and another one here and going, all these people who care about this, they turn up at the National Trust and they're talking about slavery. The people who go there do not give a about that. It's you guys who give a shit about it.
Oh my
How do you know?
How do you know?
How do you know? You're ruining the National Trust,
I'm on the
you
regional
woke
advisory
idiot.
board,
You woke
and I know.
Yeah, well, we've got to get you off the advisory board.
When was the last time you were at a National Trust property?
I won't go there because there's too many triggers to
Exactly.
slavery.
You're proving my point.
We're going to go to a bad ad, actually.
Father Christmas?
Oh, was just trying to find the loo.
It wasn't you. It's that stench.
I'm sorry, dearie. Just go back to sleep.
I was dreaming of sugar plums. Then along came the ghost of Christmas arse.
Who'd he
see? Nicholas.
Please, girls, go back to bed.
He's dropping Yule logs down his chimney.
Come on now, a little privacy would be great. I've been holding this thing since Dubai.
Look what I found.
Jesus, there's another one?
Well, now that you're here, dumping lumps of coal in our toilet, what did you get me for Christmas? You never should have pinched off a hot slice of fruitcake without using poopery.
Poopery?
Poopery, the gift that stops stinking.
Anything else?
Yeah, Santa, hurry up. I really need to take a
Oh, what a weird family for a kick-off. I mean, you know, one of the sisters was English, another one was American. Father Christmas was clearly American. So where was that even happening? And what a weird advert.
Well,
what were they actually...
That's Christmas ruined for me and the magic of Father Christmas.
The magic of Christmas.
The magic of
there.
Christmas is just going to be completely shat upon by this show. Thank you.
I assume that was an American advert, but... odd that there was an English kid in the middle of it, but there you go, time for a real break. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to What Just Happened. This is our festive special. Look at Simon. Look at Samara. I didn't bother. We got some more questions, Samara.
Hundreds of Christmas parties have banned the mistletoe this year after woke workers called it offensive. Do young people know how to have fun anymore?
Yeah, no doubt you approve of the banning of mistletoe, do you?
No, I don't. If it is true...
Have you banned it at the National Trust?
If it is true... You know what though? This is have I banned it?
Is there anything that's allowed at the National Trust?
Yes, fun. So
I
think though that there was a movement quite some time ago of drunken guys with a bunch of mistletoe going up to girls, grabbing them and like snogging them and being incredibly inappropriate.
Isn't that the idea? Inappropriate.
And I think that is where it. I think that's where it came from. But I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with that at all.
What's your line on mistletoe, Samara?
Yeah, I say bring it on. I mean, why are we getting rid of all this stuff? This is what makes the holidays holidays. I mean, it's not as if you're standing under a mistletoe, you're going to get absolutely forced into kissing whoever it is that's there.
I think that's what was happening, though.
No, but we forget about human nature. In most workplaces, that's not going to happen.
Do you have mistletoe in Australia?
Yeah, we do.
Do you have Christmas in Australia? Have you found out about it yet?
Yeah, we do, but it's really weird because it's super hot.
It's so weird.
You don't really have Christmas, do you? Because it's boiling hot.
It's boiling,
so weird.
yeah,
I was
we're
in
just
Sydney
sort of-
one Christmas, and it's just so weird seeing Santas and like people in
Santas
jumpers
in board
and
shorts. Yeah,
so weird.
No,
yeah.
but we do have mistletoe. But workplaces have gone equally as woke, and I'm sure it's banned over
Australia's
there too.
turned into woke city, hasn't it? I mean, it's unbelievable now.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. What happened to the office crush? Like a lot of good relationships have been grown out of the office, and I don't understand the mistletoe. I've heard a lot of love stories where that's been like sort of the thing that people.
So
get
in
touch
Australia,
with.
do you have to go like this if you've got some mistletoe? Before I use this mistletoe to sexually assault you, can I just say that I got this mistletoe from the forests that are grown by the indigenous people of
Yeah,
Australia?
you actually do. Yeah.
They
We'd like to
make that
thank-
speech, don't they, all the time?
Every time. Before, if you're in Australia, you'd be like, I have to thank the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation for the land on which we assembled today. It's like, if we scrapped that, we'd probably save years of our life in Australia. But, you know.
Do you have to say that with every
statement?
statement? Do you approve of that sort of thing, Simon?
Listen, I think it's
You probably
good.
do. I knew you would.
I think it's good
I
to
knew you
acknowledge.
would.
Listen, it's
such
good.
a
It is good to acknowledge. Listen, you're talking to a guy, the black guy, the only black guy in school who had to play the Black King in every nativity play. Was never Joseph,
Did
never
you?
a shepherd, was never an angel. Always,
come on,
always
you
the Black King. So the more that people learn about other things, I'm
Well,
here
you got
for
a
it.
starring role then.
Yeah, I know.
I was in a school play once. I can't
Were you
remember what-
Mary?
No. It was supposed to be a dream, and I was like this tramp, and so I walked on, and my
casting.
role was as I walked on, and then I had to lie down on the stage and go, oh, and then I went sort of to faux sleep, and
Yeah.
then the entire play happened with me lying on the front of the stage.
Oh my
While
God.
the play happened, then that was my dream.
That's the dream.
He's been doing the method acting ever
Yeah,
since.
Yeah.
Well, then I had to get at the end. I go, oh, what a strange dream, and then I walked off.
The teachers must have gone, should we give Kev some lines to learn? And then they went, oh no, it's Kevin. Probably not.
Oh, God. No more lines for me. So, we got some more questions, Samara?
Yes. Keir Starmer is more unpopular in 5 months in the job, or after 5 months in the job, than any other Prime Minister in the last 40 years. What does 2025 hold for him? Kevin, this is right up your
More
street.
disasters. I mean,
I don't
look,
think he's gonna survive.
Let's be serious for just a second. It doesn't suit this show, but we'll try to be serious. What worries me about Starmer and his cabinet crew, I mean, they seem so incompetent, so hopeless. So I don't expect their policies to meet with my approval. You know, that I'm not left-wing, far from it. They're left-wingers. But even though they're pursuing the kind of policies that right-wingers abhor, hate, they seem to be so incompetent. So what does 2025 hold for them? I think from disaster to disaster to disaster. Already, Rachel Reeves, our Chancellor's budget for growth of £40 billion tax grab is destroying the economy. What do you think, Samara?
I think that he won't survive. I think there'll be a vote of no confidence against him in 2025. I think someone is going to...
But whoa. But think about that. How does that get through? He does have a massive majority.
Yeah.
I think he's unassailable.
No, but I think his team will turn against him. I think it's happened. We were talking about Australia. I think someone like a Wes Streeting, definitely not an Angela Rayner, will come in and potentially try and save the party, because if Labor does want any chance at the next election, then they're going to have to remove him as the leader. Yeah. He's deeply unpopular.
Every time you think of the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, it's the only reason I say, Keir, stay healthy. Yeah. Don't get sick.
Please.
I think that I think I agree with you. I think that, but he has to do this unpopular stuff at the beginning.
Yeah, but that's his narrative.
But
I don't think he knows what he's doing.
He has to do this unpopular stuff, but they do it so badly. It's been done so badly. If you think back to '97 to Blair and how Blair was just so slick and adept at sort of getting the message across and doing it well, this seems to be almost like the anti-Blair. What I do think, though, is that 4 or 5 years is a long time. And if he can get through this rocky period without any more, I reckon he's got 2 more mishaps, and then I think there's serious problems for him. So I think that if he can get through that and then start to see results, he sent back a record number of migrants. That's going to play well to the right-wingers or the centrist...
46?
The centrist right. So that's going to play well for him. If he can start...
If 46.
He's also had a record number come over.
If he can
46
just
migrants.
Let me finish.
That's not the... People aren't going to go, he's deported 46 migrants.
It's more than
He's
that.
got my vote.
It's more than that.
It's
You know it's more
really.
than that. You know it's more
He
than that.
can't solve the migrant crisis.
Ultimately,
he's made the economy worse.
If he can make inroads in that, and if he can make us feel safer, and he can get more money in people's... get more money in people's pockets. If he can do that in the first 6 months of next year, I think he'll be okay. But he can't afford
I would
more
agree
mishaps.
with that, except for I have no confidence. I think he's an incompetent buffoon. I don't think he's got it in him to improve this country. And he's, you're right. His narrative is, we're going to go, we've got to get the unpopular stuff out of the way first. Well, OK, fair enough. But he's doing it so badly. And most of their troubles that are caused by self-harming. They did not have to cancel the winter fuel allowance. They did not have to attack the farmers. The reason they did both of those strategies was for class reasons. They don't like old people because old people are right-wing and don't vote Labour. They don't like people in our rural agricultural communities because they don't vote Labour either. So they attacked both of them. And people hate it. They didn't need to do that. They didn't save much money. They just did it and absolutely ruined themselves. If he carries on with this self-harming class warfare nonsense, he's toast.
Yeah, it's extremely hard to climb back from the pit that he's in right now. And I think that this Christmas, a lot of people are really going to feel the pinch of what Rachel Reeves has done to the economy. And businesses are going to be shutting down in the new year.
They already are.
It's real. I hate to be so negative about it all, but it's really not looking good for Britain. And so, yes.
I think even the left are stunned. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of Labour people. They're stunned by his incompetence. They're alarmed by it. And those of us on the right are terrified by it. So he's a bad Prime Minister. This is why I get the big bucks, by the way. Listen to this thing. So he's a bad Prime Minister. It's time for a bad ad.
Old Spice gift pack, that can't be bad. Remington's great popcorn maker, steady on there, lad. These Bontempi organs are so much fun to play. Chocolates for the girlfriend, make it Cadbury's milk tray. Stupendous and amazing value in toys. Play with Frogger, get him home again. Fisher Price, just what you want, a baby-proof safe game. And chasing ghosts with Pac-Man drives them all insane. It's the latest, greatest, ever more spectacular Always Christmas show.
Well, it's Joe Brown singing and Rula Lenska beside him. And just the Old Spice. That's what they used to call Jerry Halliwell. Ginger Spice, Old Spice.
She lied about her age, poor thing.
Yeah. She was actually 47 when she joined the Spice Girls.
Leave her.
She's 86 now.
Oh, wowza.
Looking quite good for her age, but she's had a lot of surgery, but...
No, she hasn't.
Right, she hasn't had any. I don't care whether she's had surgery or not. I barely know who she is. I could tell you a quick story about the Spice Girls if you want. I went to Oslo to cover the concert there, for her final concert. She wasn't there. She'd left the Spice Girls. I just got back from America. So they sent me to Oslo. Jerry, Ginger Spice has left the Spice Girls. And I go, who are the Spice Girls? So I went there and had to cover that story. Anyway, on that musical bombshell, it's time for a real break. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to this festive edition of What Just Happened. Christmas is coming, but the complaints are still coming in thick and fast. It is time for the complaints department, where I always say this, but listen, thank you for a year of sending in your messages, even your complaints and all your missives, and we really do appreciate it. But let's get some of the complaints rolling. Ladies first, go on, Simon.
OK, well, I mean, I've got 3 here, which I'll quickly do in succession, which aren't complaints. First one is from somebody called Claude Germain, who says, Simon is actually funny, who knew? And then adds, I do like Simon, he handles his job well. With counterpoint, it must be difficult to find something good about pathological narcissists. Oh dear, Kevin, you just broke my heart about dear polo ponies. Excellent commercials. And then the third one, Kevin, why do you include this Simon idiot in your show? So back to normal. Not only stupid, but ruins the show to the extent that it makes people like myself feel inclined to unsubscribe. And that's from Phil Ashton. Merry
Don't unsubscribe, Phil. I promise to fire him in the first week of next year.
Happy Christmas.
No. You don't get rid of your village idiot like that. But do you know there was a good point there, wasn't it? That Simon is funny.
Yeah.
But not in a good way. You have some complaints or messages.
Well, Gail says Simon was being a gentleman, whilst Kevin, I'm afraid, you are showing some bully tendencies.
Bully?
Tendencies.
That's another thing I think gets a bad press. Bullying, you know. I was a very enthusiastic...
Bring it back.
When I was at school, I was a very enthusiastic bully. I was good at it, you know. It's one of the few talents I've got.
And not letting Simon finish his sentences. Usually I do appreciate your knowledge and use of language on debate issues, but it's important to let the opposition have uninterrupted time to use their voice. Love the lovely banter. Eye rolling is very disrespectful. I think that's towards me. Yeah, God. All right. And Claire said, Simon is a great devil's advocate. It takes great patience, skill, and persistence. Without him, this show would just be called Kevin Raving.
It would be, yeah. By the way, that eye rolling thing, you two are both good at rolling your eyes. And I don't seem to...
You roll your head when you do it, don't you?
I'm just hopeless at it. I should just stick to what I'm good at. Bullying. What do you think? Simon, you got some
Danette Perez says, very impressed with Simon being honest. What just happened? LOL. If Biden wants to go out with a flare, he would pardon President Trump. Simon, if anyone tried to buy an election, it would be $1 billion that Kamala spent on Hollywood endorsements and her alcohol bill.
What about that message we played the other week when she was absolutely drunk as a skunk?
Let's hope it was just alcohol. That's
who can blame her? She's turned to the bottle. Her life is over. So what do you got next, Samara?
Rebecca said, I really like Simon in this show compared to how he usually is. Yeah, people really thought you turned a corner last week. It's great. We've reached some sort of agreement.
We keep having these kumbaya shows.
I agreed with something about Harry and Meghan, and all of a sudden they think I've seen the light.
New Year's resolution for what just happened. We're going to go back to bitter infighting next.
And Tammy has said the kids will appear soon when they have nothing else to sell. I reckon next year.
But Simon, do you think those children actually exist?
I have a message from Helen Brown.
It's time for a bad ad, actually.
Give him a gift that says you thought about him.
Time. Thanks, Dad.
Give her a gift that says you think she's smart.
I can sure use this, Mom.
A gift for those who love the world around them.
Honey, thanks.
A gift that's really from your heart.
This Christmas, let someone know how special they really are by touching their mind with Time magazine.
Wow, that's a thrilling gift to get.
That was my gift every year, actually, when I was growing up. I love my Time.
My parents got me that once.
Yeah.
And I used to get, and still do get, Viz comic, and I suggest that everybody gets
I'm getting it for you this year, so you can put up with Donald Trump being Time.
And can I just say, that's a lovely ad. So much nicer than Santa dropping the kids off at the pool.
Come on, then put on the. It's not the MAGA hat. That's the WhatsApp hat.
What just happened hat?
Yeah, what just happened hat. Put it on, Simon.
It's just
there you go.
That looks great.
So these are available from all bad shops.
No, these are very available. Just look out for them. And, we didn't get Time magazine, but I will get you a subscription, Simon, just for the Trump edition. But it is now time to say goodbye. I want to thank you all for tuning in all year. We'll be doing it all again next year, but a very, very happy Christmas to you all and a happy new year. And I guess I should say happy holidays as well. Bye-bye.